I went into Madonna. Actually, it wasn't the best experience in reality. I went in expecting a lot more than I received. It's partially my fault, but I went in thinking, I'm gonna go in and be the man like I was in high school, and it definitely wasn't like that. You got, in like an analogy, you got a bunch of U's. There's a bunch of alphas on one team, so somebody has to take the step back and somebody has to take the leadership position. And I walked in thinking I was going to take the leadership position, but in reality I was a 17-year-old kid. I'm playing with 22-year-olds, and they've been there a lot longer. They know what to expect, and it was a tough transition. But after my first year, I kind of got the gist of things. I had a pretty decent second season. But I mean, I worked hard. You have all the resources that you didn't have in high school. So you have like athletic trainers and conditioning coaches and stuff like that. So it definitely gets you ready. But at the same time, in high school, you're the man, and in college, there's just a bunch of you. So everybody's kind of on an even playing field. Especially when you come in as a freshman, you're at the bottom of the totem pole. So, in high school, I was good enough to not be quick, like my feet and just my body in general. So I wasn't always the quickest person. When I got to college, I realized that everybody on the court is quick, whether you're 7 foot or 5'11". They're fast players, and they're hard-working players. That's another thing in high school where I was nonchalant. I used to put up 30, 35 a game, but it was just like, whatever, I can do it with my eyes closed. But when I went to college, it was a lot different. You guys they're working for their scholarship. Somebody's paying $120,000 for you to go to school. You're gonna work your butt off to show the coaches that you earned it, because whenever they want, they can take that away and say, have a good one. This has been a plan of mine for going professionally, that is, since I can remember. I used to tell my mom, I'm gonna go to Lebanon, play basketball, make some money, come home, and have us live a good life. So when I started getting recruited, I was getting recruited by schools outside of Michigan, and it was very, like, I really wanted to go there, but at the same time I knew that once I do go professionally, I won't be around my family as much. So I decided to stay close to home and go to Madonna just for that reason. So I was planning ahead, almost at a fault, because if I would have gotten hurt or anything like that, it would have been a big problem, because I'm home, I don't want to be home, stuff like that. But my sophomore year in high school, I tore my ACL in my right knee. I had to sit out 10 months, and that was the year where I was supposed to be, like, I came in ranked the 4th player in the state. I was only a sophomore. I was like 15 years old, if that. So like a lot of the local fame and everybody knowing who I was and stuff like that. And then when people say, like, it humbles you, it really does, because I was far from humble. But I got hurt. I had to sit out for 9 months. Didn't hear from any colleges talking to me about recruiting me wise. And then it was bad. It was a tough time. But I definitely learned from it. More. I feel like back then I would talk before I would listen, and now I got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You got to listen more than you talk. My freshman year, I was getting looked at by every school you can possibly think of in the state of Michigan and throughout. Central State University. I can't even remember who they were. Alabama A&M. Division I schools, bigger schools. I know Michigan State. I mean, we went to Michigan State one time. We went to Oakland University one time, just to look at the practice facilities and stuff like that, and talk to the coaches. So it was, I personally thought, and so did everybody around me, thought I was going to go to like a Big Ten school like Michigan or Michigan State or Illinois or something like that. But I let that get to my head. In reality, I worked hard, but I would let people know I was working hard, and that's one thing you can't do. You can't let people know, like, oh, I just left the gym, I just got into the gym, stuff like that. Especially on a daily basis, you become almost arrogant to say. So, after my knee happened, I didn't hear from any school, anybody, and it got to me, but I got through it. The ability to shoot the ball from anywhere. My senior year in high school, I shot 49% from three, which is great. I had like 700 and something points in one season. So, and like as the banner says, like I scored all that in 3 years. I missed a whole year because of my knee. So it was definitely just scoring the ball, not even shooting the ball, scoring the ball. I was very crafty, so I lacked speed, but I was able to get away with it in high school. But when I got to college, I had to become more of a craftier player. So not relying on athleticism, but relying on skill in a way. I wasn't good at basketball until until I probably hit 8th grade. My brother was actually a really good basketball player. You've been playing since? Yeah, I've been playing since probably 3rd grade, but I wasn't good. And I was always shorter. I was always chubby. I remember it correct, like perfectly. I was a 6th grader, and my brother was a 11th grader, and that's when my brother started getting really good at basketball. He actually graduated from here too, and he got a scholarship to Concordia University. It's in Ann Arbor. Anyways, and I remember it. So I'm sitting here watching on the bench, and this guy's killing it. Like, you know what, man? I think it's something I want to devote my life to, because all the praise that he got, I liked that. You know, I fed off praise. So my 7th grade year, I wasn't that good. My 8th grade year is when I really got into the gym. And I remember my mom dropping me off at the Civic Center in Dearborn at 8 a.m. when she went to work, and then she'd pick me up at 5 when she came back. And I was there just shooting. And that's the only thing I knew how to do. Not until I got to my freshman year that shooting was one thing, and then you have to, you know, you have to better your skills in other fashions, so you're dribbling and everything like that. My brother always told me, like, he said, there's a certain point in your life where you have to decide what you're gonna do, and that a lot for a lot of people, that's after your senior year in high school. So he said, look, if you want to go into pharmacy, or if you want to be a doctor or whatever, you have to devote 100% of your life to that. And as much as I loved school, I decided I want to do something different. And why not do something where in the long term I can possibly make more money than a doctor and a pharmacy combined. So financially there was obviously motivation, but it was more of like my utter obsession for basketball. Like, I'd find myself, I'd work out for 4 hours, I'd go home, I'd eat, and I'd come back and do a workout for another 2 hours. Before I know it, it's 12 o'clock in the morning and I'm watching basketball on my phone. So it was just an utter obsession, and I feel like it's still like that, and that's the only way you can possibly succeed and exceed expectations from anybody, is to be utterly obsessed with one thing. And if that's a basketball, then I'm perfectly fine with it. It was a good experience. I learned a lot. That's the thing. The school taught me to play basketball, but they didn't teach me how to let the game come to me. I wasn't furnished with the coaches that I needed to get ready for college. So walking into college, I was like, okay, I can shoot every shot. But in reality, like a coach tells you, you have to let the game come to you. So, you know, you have to let, in essence, you have to let it do its job and you just be ready. So if you get 3 shots a game, you better make all 3. You got to be ready. And in terms of high school, I was shooting 30 shots and I was making 20. But you can't do that with another 4 of you on the court. So it was good. I learned a lot, but it didn't go as I wanted it to, because I mean, I'm a perfectionist and it wasn't a perfect ride. A lot of bumping heads, a lot of thinking I'm right over other people, and you know, that'll get you in trouble. Yeah, being Arab American was different. Like I said before, I'm very passionate about basketball. So when you get to college, it's you know, a lot of parties and a lot of stuff like that. And I'd always sit those out. Not because necessarily I was Arab American or a Muslim or anything like that. It was because this was my #1 priority. But automatically, when I say, oh, I'm gonna sit this one out, everybody's first thought is, oh, it's because he's Arabic, or it's because he's Muslim. He has those thoughts that, oh, I can't do that, or in reality, somebody's gonna do what everybody's gonna do what they want to do. That had nothing to do with it, but I just wanted to play basketball. But like, other than like going out to eat and stuff, like my coaches would make sure that, like after games, if we had food, we'd go to somewhere that either served fish or they served halal, which was I found that pretty cool. You know, they're very respectful people, and you know, I had conversations just with my teammates about my religion, and you know, everybody was very open-minded, and I'm a very open-minded individual. So when it comes to that, there was no really bumping heads. You know, you'd get comments here and there, but you can expect that, especially at the time we're in today. But I don't let that bother me. I'm a basketball player. When it comes to basketball, there's no race, religion, sex, nothing. You just play basketball. They stick with you, but it's more of like, all right, he said that to me. I'm not going to necessarily retaliate, but on the court, I'm going to make sure he kind of regrets saying that to me. So everything comes back to basketball. And it got to me. I thought about it. I went home and was like, does this guy really just say that? But after a while, you just become numb to those things. I'm 19 years old. It definitely, probably a culture shock, probably. Like I said, I'm there for a job. I'm not there to go on vacation. But they furnish me with a house, and they furnish me with a car and food and stuff like that. So they treat you really well. There's a lot of downtime though. So you have 2 hours of practice a day. You play a game once a week, and the rest of the time you can do whatever you want. So I'm definitely gonna explore. And, you know, that's my mother. That's my homeland. I'm from here, but my ethnic background is from Lebanon. So I'm really excited to see where I'm from, and I know I heard it's very historical. You have really old cities and stuff like that. So that stuff, I find it pretty cool. So that's definitely what I'm gonna go and look at. Yeah. So I have an agent that he was actually a friend of mine who also plays in Lebanon right now, Ali Farhat. He was his agent, and some way or another he heard of me, and he reached out to me. He said, hey, I think you'd be a great fit in here. You'd make some money, you'd live a good life and everything like that. So I said, let me see how this season goes at Madonna, and I'll let you know. Didn't go the way I wanted. And what my plan was, I was gonna stay 4 years, you know, have them pay for my schooling, go to college, get a degree, and then go to Lebanon. And I look back at it, I mean, I would be 20, 21, 22 years old, which is older in a sense, especially when it comes to basketball, because the older you get, the kind of worse it is. So I said, it's not going the way I want. I'm not really missing out on anything. School, I can still go back to school. Like, I'm only there for 6 months out of the year, so I can go back to school here when I'm during the off season. So I called him. I said, you know, let's do this. We put together like a highlight tape. He sent it out to teams, and well, actually there was a couple teams that really wanted me, and you know, we decided on numbers and those things, and yeah, we decided.
So it was the teams themselves?
No, yeah, the agent sends them the film, and they're like, oh, okay, I want this kid, because, well, I'm just gonna be I'm a really realistic person too. The NBA probably isn't in my future anytime soon or ever. So, but I knew I wanted to play basketball. And in Lebanon, there's perks for being a Lebanese citizen. So like in Lebanon, you only get 3 foreign players on a team. I'm not considered foreign because my father is Lebanese. So there's perks when it comes to that. And not only that, it's probably like the 4th best league in the world right now. So you got the America, obviously. Then you got the Euro League, China, and then Lebanon. And Australia, that's interchangeable. So it's top 5 for sure. And you have a lot of ex-NBA players going to Lebanon. Hassan Whiteside plays for the Miami Heat right now. He played in Lebanon. There's a lot of players that play in Lebanon. So I mean, Lebanon was just something that was brought up to me younger. And the idea was brought up. And I said, you know, let that be my goal. Because everybody in America has the dream of playing in the NBA, but not a lot of people have the dream of playing in Lebanon. And if I can make a fraction of the money they make here, I'll live a really good life. You're playing against grown men. That's how they support their family. So I'm expecting to learn just how to handle yourself, especially being a so-called celebrity in a country like that. I'm expecting to learn a lot about the game, being patient, and the business of the game also, like going to speak places and stuff like that. So you become, your voice becomes worth something when you're a professional basketball player. And being 19 years old going there, I'm going to be able to learn from 30, 40-year-olds that have played there for a long time, and just pick up little things, pick their brain about basketball things, stuff like that. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm working on something right now. Can't really say it yet, but when I do, you guys will definitely be the first I'll reach out to. Definitely, though, definitely. More of foundation type of thing, but the the goal behind it is so much bigger than me, and it's something that if I wasn't playing basketball, I wouldn't be able to do. Speaking from a financial standpoint, speaking from a status standpoint, if I was just a regular dude, nobody would probably listen to me. But now that I have a status, it's gonna make a lot of people happy, a lot of people proud.
So what is the team?
I cannot say that yet. I can't say that yet. I told, but I can't say it yet, just because it's actually not allowed to. They're not allowed to say it until the season ends. I know, but it can't be released to the public just in case, like, another team hears about it. They, oh, I actually want this guy, so they'll go behind the scenes and try to offer me more money or something. Before the new season begins. So this season's almost done, and then I'll be probably about 2 months, 3 months, and then I'll be able to say where I'm playing at. It's a great program, very history-full. It's in the west side of Lebanon, so right on the beach. I'm gonna be living good. It's gonna be something special.
So they have like housing prepared for you.
Absolutely. You have they give you a car, and they give you a house, and they pay for, I believe, food allowance also, and obviously your check every 2 weeks or whatever, and then yeah. So they take care of you really well. They want to make sure that you're comfortable, and what you're there for is what you do. You don't have to be worried about buying a house or all these things. You're going to play basketball, and they'll do everything until the basketball part, and then it's your job. I'm probably going to be attending Wayne State University. I believe so. Wherever, well, I'm going to I'm want to become a physician assistant. So it's in the biology field. So yeah, my 6 months that are here, I'll continue to finish my classes, my prerequisites to get my bachelor's, and then when I retire from playing basketball overseas, hopefully 10, 15 years from now, I'll go to PA school and go from there.
So you've got
All that
I
playing.
know that you might be there for 15 years.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I want. I honestly, I want to play as long as I possibly can. I told my family I want to play until my body breaks apart and I can't move anymore, because it's an obsession, and it's something that I'm willing to risk my whole life and my body for. It's a safe haven to say. You play basketball, you forget. I mean, it's very cliche, but it's very true. You forget about everything, and you can say that about any sport, but for basketball, that's what hit me. Pushes your limit. It shows you how far you can go. I've been to workouts where after the workout, I'll say, "Wow, I didn't even know I could do that," and that comes from a an effort standpoint, and just pushing your body to the limit. Like, I'll be shaking during workouts and stuff like that, but I won't even think about it because I have one goal in mind, and that's to play professional basketball, and that came true, and now I just continue to push that goal. They asked me to stay in shape and to keep working out, so, but no, not really. It's just, oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I have to prepare to, like you said, play against grown men. And that's what they said, be ready for that, because it's going to be not only a culture shock, but basketball shock. You just watch film, you try to learn their tendencies, and then when you get back in the gym, you try to figure out ways to pick those apart. So I have a trainer right now who we watch film together, and then we'll go to the gym, and he'll show me what happened, why this happened, what to do from it, and learn to come off those things in a certain way. It's a lot of technical stuff, but that's the best way to be prepared without experiencing it.
How are you not nervous?
When you prepare for something for so long, I mean, I find nervousness as a weakness in all respect. If anybody gets nervous, I don't feel that. I don't want to offend anybody, but once you prepare for something, you're not curious, and you don't become kind of edgy about it. You're like, I know what to expect, and I'm gonna go in there, play my tail off, and it's gonna be good enough because I've worked my butt off for it.
How is Lebanese basketball different from American basketball?
Oh yeah, it's a lot more. Lebanese basketball is a lot more physical than basketball here. I mean, it has to do with just the type of players you're dealing with here, are their bodies, and the league in general is designed to have players play 15, 20 years, plus years. In Lebanon, it's like a no holds barred. So there won't be as many referee calls. There won't be as many fouls. There won't be as many like nice interactions with people. It's a business there, and they take it as that. More aggressive, more physical. But the basketball, like the way basketball is portrayed in Lebanon, it's almost where America is. The soccer isn't really big in Lebanon anymore, at least professional soccer. And I don't even think they have any more professional teams. So basketball is, you always have 20,000, 15,000 people in the stands. Everybody's very emotional, very they surely they'll show you who they're rooting for, and if that's in a nice way or a negative way, they don't care. A lot of it's based off of politics also. So every political group has their own team, and that's how it's funded. Other than the advertisements and the people coming to the game, majority of it is funded by political parties. So they'll, like, if you are X, then if you are X party supporter, then you'll be with that team. If you're X, like so on and so on. So a lot of it has to do with politics, and no, I think I thrive under pressure, but when it comes to like things bigger than basketball, so like politics and stuff, that might change the way like if I'm having an interview, I might say something different, just because I know who I'm talking to. But I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna say anything derogatory or anything like that. It's just, you have to be careful what you say, because people are very emotional and very, they feel strong for what they believe in, especially in Lebanon. Lebanon's had a history of that, and yeah. I had a really good childhood, actually. My dad was like a very hard worker. Obviously, he came here. I think he was like a bus boy in the beginning when he came here. Then slowly but surely, he became an entrepreneur and now owns businesses. My mom has her master's. So like, the ideal American childhood I had. Growing up, my role model was probably my brother, just because my brother's 6 years older than me, so it's quite a different. So we didn't really interact as much, but I always said, like, I want to do what he's doing. And now, my brother is actually a federal agent, so he works for the United States government. So he supports us and he protects us every day. And he's somebody I really look up to. I truly do, just because he was working 3 jobs at one point to get himself through college. We're like an average middle class family, so everybody tries to pay for their own college, or you obviously have help from people, but so he worked 3 jobs to pay for his own college. He's married now, so I mean, he's 25, 24 years old. So that's somebody definitely I looked up to, just because he did it. He made it, so to say. And you can't really there's always people to thank, and that's definitely probably my biggest person to thank. Basketball player, I don't really try to emulate anybody's game. I try to do things the way I want to do it, because I'm not 6'5", I'm not the quickest guy on the court, and a lot of the professional players are like that. But mindset wise, there's 2 people I emulate when it comes to basketball. The most prominent names are Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, just because Kobe devoted his whole life. If you listen to Kobe speak, it's like somebody, he doesn't have a brain, he has a basketball. So it's like he devoted his whole life. People call him psycho for it. Hopefully, I want to be a psycho if that's considered psycho. So he was everything was basketball. He was in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning and wouldn't leave till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And LeBron James, when it comes to him, it's his leadership ability. You can put him on any team in the world, and he'll be the best player in the world, and they'll win. And that's something I admire. I want to be that type of player where you can put me anywhere, any equation, any combination with any player, and we got to win basketball games. And That's probably what I emulate from LeBron mostly, because he's 6'9", 260. I'm like 6'1", 190. So we're nowhere near. I'm nowhere near that. But just because he's a leader, and Kobe was just such a hard worker, that's who I strive to be like mentally. Yeah. So hype athletics played a giant part in my basketball career. My first camp I went, I was probably like 8, and like I said, I wasn't really good. I was only 8 years old though, but my brother and the CEO of Hype, Ali Said, were really close, and that relationship kind of fed onto me. So I came in probably 6th grade, 7th grade maybe. I started playing AAU with them, which is a basketball program where you travel the country and you play against different teams and stuff like that. AAU, Amateur Athletic Union, or something like that. Yeah, Amateur Athletic Union. So I started playing with Hype when they came out with the team, and you know, especially Ali Said, he really, you know, focused in on me. He wanted me to be a good player. He saw potential in me when nobody else did. And he told me one time, he actually told me a quote. It was very strong. He's like, "Are you going to be one of those guys who will do anything to reach his goal, or are you going to be one of those guys where it will be impossible if you don't reach your goal?" So it was, you know, it's a little kind of tricky, but you got to get to the point in your life where you've worked so hard that if you don't reach your goal, it's impossible not to reach your goal. And that stuck with me, and he probably told me that in like 5th grade, something really young, really young. And we go way back. And then when I started getting older, started getting better, he was very in the loop when it came to my recruiting process. When I got hurt, he worked out with me, like rehabilitation wise. He's had a great impact on my life, and you know, I thank him every time I see him. And you know, to this day, we're actually still pretty close. You know, he's a lot busier now. He has 2 locations, and he has a lot of things going on. But I played at AAU for 5 years, 6 years. We played for a long time. It was every summer, so we'd go to like Grand Rapids, Indiana, everywhere in the Midwest, and play games with college coaches sitting there watching you. So it's kind of like a tryout for colleges, but you were 13, 14 years old. But to them, the earlier they see you, the better chance they have of getting you. So when it came to that, he helped me a lot. He was really big on me playing it because he wanted me to do something with my life, and I think I have a bit. So what was that?
He saw something.
He definitely saw something in me when nobody did. When nobody did.
What happened in 9th grade?
What do you mean?
When you got jumped.
Oh, when I got jumped?
You want to tell us about that?
I'll tell you guys.
That's interesting.
I was a freshman. I was playing AAU. We weren't supposed to win the game. We were like the last seed, and I was at the free throw line. It was like, I don't know what the score. It was tied. It was probably like 60-60 or something like that. Or we were down 1, sorry. And I went to the free throw line, hit 2 free throws. I made it. We won. I'm talking crazy trash. Remember, I wasn't humble at all. I was just a talker. And then I was talking crazy trash. Probably like a couple minutes later, I just got jumped by like 10 guys. It was their team that jumped me. No, like it was AAU, so there's courts all around. So I was probably watching another game or something, and they just jumped me and they beat me up. I'm pretty sure I had like a concussion. I started crying, all that good stuff. It was brutal, but I was happy that, you know, I kind of like I got under somebody's skin, so that I kind of fed off that back then. But now it's just whatever. I probably would have never went to talk trash, but I'm glad we won the game. That's all that matters.